Yeah, we changed the car.
I think a little bit worse.
Extract the most from the car.
We didn't anticipate those things well.
Miami engine's cooling and Lewis Hamilton steps out of the SF26 and says the four words Ferrari dreaded most. The car isn't fast enough. Not a whisper, not a hint. A statement. Public. Deliberate. Devastating. Ferrari had just rolled out the biggest upgrade package of the entire 2026 season. 11 changes. Months of work. Maranello's boldest technical bet. And their own star driver, the man they signed to end a 16-year title drought, just told the world it wasn't enough. So here's the question nobody inside Ferrari wants to answer.
We have just been, today particularly, we've struggled with tires.
Overnight to try and figure out
It wasn't a nice feeling.
why we're not that quick.
Qualifying, there's still some work to be done.
Yeah.
If Hamilton already knows the car is broken, does Leclerc? And more dangerously, does Ferrari? To understand what happened in Miami, you have to go back further. Back to Suzuka. That's where it started. Not with a crash. Not with a controversial call. With a feeling. Hamilton reported it over the radio the car wasn't pushing on the straight. Not a dramatic failure. No warning light. Just performance disappearing into thin air.
Lewis Hamilton is slower by a tenth. The grip faded from the Ferrari man.
Engineers and Maranello pulled the telemetry, crossed it against simulator data, and what they found changed everything. The SF26 wasn't failing in one place. It was failing in several, simultaneously generating a combined top speed loss of nearly 9 tenths per lap. 9 tenths. In modern Formula One, that's not a deficit. That's a disaster. But here's what made it structural, not accidental. A simple oversteer moment in a fast corner was triggering the energy management system. The car automatically cut electrical deployment to protect components. And in doing so, it killed performance at the exact moment Hamilton needed it most. This wasn't a bug. It was a pattern that could repeat on any circuit. But that was just the start. Ferrari's response was aggressive. Package 1.5, a mid-season rebuild unlike anything they'd attempted in years. New floor, rear aerodynamic redesign, hydraulic system overhaul, and the return of the controversial Macarena rear wing, a concept abandoned in preseason, now Rebo. Are in with one mission: recover 10 kilometers per hour on the straight. 11 changes, all at once. And this is where the story gets dark. Because in Formula One, when you change everything simultaneously, you understand nothing. You lose the ability to isolate what works. The car enters a gray area. Every adjustment carries unpredictable side effects. Ferrari didn't just bring an upgrade to Miami. They brought a gamble. On paper, the package showed promise. Leclerc found rhythm early, set competitive benchmarks, looked like a driver who'd connected with the new configuration. Ferrari's engineers exhaled. Maybe it worked. But then came Hamilton's lap, and the half-second gap between teammates in SQ2 told a completely different story. This wasn't about one driver having a bad session. This was about a car so sensitive to setup that it rewarded one approach and punished another without warning, without logic. Hamilton wasn't just slower. He was lost. And here's the twist that changes everything. Days before qualifying, Hamilton had already hinted publicly that Ferrari had been experiencing performance losses they couldn't fully explain. A combination of factors making the car slower without an immediately obvious cause. So Ferrari introduced 11 major changes to a car they didn't fully understand yet. The result? Exactly what you'd expect. An unpredictable machine, a frustrated 7-time world champion, and a team standing in the Miami paddock holding €1 billion worth of engineering with no clear answer. This is the moment everything shifts. Hamilton's statement after qualifying wasn't frustration. It wasn't a bad day talking. It was a technical indictment delivered publicly, deliberately, with full awareness of what it meant. He said the car isn't fast enough. Not wasn't fast enough this weekend. Present tense. Structural. Ongoing. What that sentence reveals is more alarming than the lap time. It means the simulations in Maranello pointed somewhere completely different from what appeared on track. The wind tunnel said one thing. Miami said another. And when that gap between factory data and real-world performance becomes this wide, the problem isn't performance anymore. It's comprehension. Ferrari doesn't fully understand why their car is slow, and a team that doesn't understand its problem cannot solve it. Every update becomes a guess. Every guess costs weeks. Every week, it costs championship points. Meanwhile, Hamilton is also rebuilding his relationship with a new race engineer. In this era of curve-by-curve energy management, that human synchronization isn't optional. It's everything. Without it, the hybrid system misfires at critical moments, leaving the driver exposed on the straights that Miami punishes most. Ferrari isn't just fighting McLaren. They're fighting themselves. The fallout from Hamilton's statement isn't measured in points. It's measured in pressure. Inside the garage, the dynamic between the two drivers fractures quietly. Leclerc manages, adapts, stays composed within the project. Hamilton questions, pushes, demands structural answers. Two philosophies, one team, zero alignment. Historically, Ferrari has collapsed precisely when its drivers pull development in opposite directions. That tension isn't new, but this time, it arrives at the worst possible moment, a regulation reset year where foundational understanding matters more than ever. The 2026 rules didn't just change the cars. They rewrote the energy management rulebook entirely. And if Ferrari is failing at hybrid efficiency, that isn't a detail to fix over one race weekend. That's an architecture problem. And while Ferrari searches for answers, McLaren executes. Mercedes optimizes their power advantage. And the gap doesn't just stay the same. It grows. Scenario 1. Ferrari listens to Hamilton, rebuilds the development philosophy from the ground up, accepts the pain of lost months, and emerges stronger in the second half of the season. Scenario 2. Ferrari ignores the warning, continues layering updates onto a misunderstood foundation. Hamilton's frustration becomes public. Leclerc's silence becomes louder. And 2026 becomes another year the prancing horse finishes the race but loses the war. Scenario 3. The rain comes. Miami Sunday transforms. Hamilton's wet weather mastery, backed by 2 full days testing the SF26 at Fiorano in the wet, rewrites the narrative in a single afternoon. Ferrari doesn't fix the car, but Hamilton drives around the problem. One race, one downpour, one moment that buys Ferrari the time it desperately needs. But here's what nobody is saying out loud yet. What if the problem was always there and Miami just made it impossible to hide? What if the SF26 has never truly been understood, not in testing, not in Suzuka, not in 11 upgrades? And what does that mean for Charles Leclerc, the man who spent years carrying Ferrari's hope, now watching his new teammate say publicly what he may have known privately for months? The car isn't fast enough. 3 words. Infinite consequences. This season was never about who's fastest. It's about who understands EIR machine first. And right now, Ferrari is still searching for the answer.